That's kind of funny because we lived that down on Asheville Street a few years ago when those high school kids were down there. you know, Obviously, I think the way the contracts are written, or I'm assuming they're written, is that you have a responsible adult of legal age signing these contracts. And what I've seen happen is they'll sign the contract for their kids or their kids and their friends, and then they don't come down and chaperone their kids. To me, the way to address this is make the person signing the contract, the adult, liable for the actions of the kids. Now, I've seen what's happened out here where adults were held accountable for the kids. We were parking cars at the concert one year, and some guy's letting his kid drive the golf cart, and he ran into a back of an SUV and knocked the bumper off the back of it. And he got charged, I believe, with endangering a child or endangering a minor that evening. And so you make the person who told the lie basically accountable for the action. Then send the kids home.
Thank you. I think Steve is spot on. I did hear, don't know to be fact, but I did hear from a reliable source that the mayor of Corolla, where these people used to go for their senior week before, wrote the principal of the high school a letter saying you're not welcome here. Now, so we've been found as the as the next episode. I hope this will blow over there. My next door neighbor rents his home, and he came in very sad to hear what was happening at his place. He has a signed contract, like Steve just said, that an adult must stay in the house. Well, an adult checked him in and then went to another house, next door, and the rest could be filmed with these bright lights here and make a movie. But I think it rests in the contracts that we sign, and holding people responsible to the people that are renting.
So this one hits a little close to home. Literally, we had this happen on our street this year. We had these nice guests who decided to pile into one house. So I had a conversation with Ken Bellamy just the other day, as a matter of fact, on this issue and what you can do regarding juveniles and how you can handle situations with a juvenile. And he was very kind, and he gave me some printouts and had done some research on what exactly the police department can do, which really isn't a whole heck of a lot. Juveniles are very much protected in North Carolina right now. So then it raises the next question: where do we go from there? And he's working with other police departments to see how they have handled this in the past, to find any sort of a gap that we can exploit to make Ocean Isle Beach the place you don't want to go to. This is not Party City. But one of the things that as a commissioner I would do, and again, give you some insight into me, I would look for any creative way to resolve this problem and try and put the problem where it really belongs. The problem does belong with the parents. I think we would all agree with that. Holding the parents accountable for it, they can be held accountable if they're on site for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. But I'd go deeper. I think that the parents would be more impacted if we could find a way to do it, to hit them in the pocketbook. For example, you have a cleaning deposit. Well, let's say that you have a noise deposit or whatever, and Mayor Smith would know much more about this than I ever would, and she'd be one of the people I talk to about it. But if we could find a way to get it into that rental contract, that you have a huge deposit, and if you want to drop off your child and they get a complaint from the police, you're going to forfeit your deposit. I would think that would be something that might stick to somebody. The other thing would be to go and make sure that the owners, because many of them are VRBO or others, they're not necessarily going through Sloan or anyone else, have the owners somehow held accountable for renting in the first place to these people. Again, there's a saying that you get the behavior you incent. We want to incent the behavior that this type of behavior is not our type of behavior. You're not welcome here. So,
well, I think it needs to be the parents need to be responsible. I had 3 teenagers to go through spring break, and I tell you, they did not want to have the police call me, and at all. And thank goodness they didn't. They behaved to that, as far as I know. But it wasn't anything like I've seen in the recent near future. I think you hit them where it hurts, and that's in the pocketbook. And the idea of making them put up a pretty good size deposit for whatever reason, and if it doesn't stay, if they don't do what they're supposed to, then they lose it. But I think it falls on the parents, and that's where you got to start.
This topic is sort of near and dear to my heart as well. Having the privilege of living across the canal from a party house, from a wedding house. You know, I like Bruno Mars, but not at 2 a.m. And we've had some of those situations in past years. I will say this year, though, and Melinda can vouch for this, I think, we did not call the police once all summer, which is rare. It's very rare. I think the only way to impact it is the financial aspect of it. In a contract like's been discussed, I agree with that. And I have found in my efforts to handle things on my own with rowdy people, it's probably best to let the professionals do it. Because, you know, usually when I'm talking to them, I don't need to be out there either. So I would agree with what's been said here about trying to put something contractually on the renter, making them lose their deposit. And you may want to even increase it if there is a potential for them to go elsewhere while their kids yell and scream off the dock across from my house. But it is an issue, and the best thing to do is make sure you call. I've got them on speed dial. I'll call the police in a minute if necessary. We don't want to infringe on somebody's vacation time. Have a good time and be, you know, welcome at Ocean Isle Beach. But be respectful, because not everybody is on vacation.
Yes, I was appalled at some of the activities that took place with some of the teenagers, including trying to race around the roundabout in front of the pier and flipping a golf cart, which a lot of people could have gotten super hurt on that, and the teenagers being disrespectful to business owners, especially at the pier, and vandalizing things. I'm glad that Ken addressed this, Chief Ken Bellamy addressed this at one of the town meetings, and he gave an update and kind of informed us about where their hands are tied and what they can do, and along with all the other candidates saying parents need to be held responsible and held accountable and be more responsible. I totally agree with that, and I'm glad that Ken has started enforcing some of the golf cart rules to make it safer for everyone on our island. And so with the seat belts and all the rules that just like they're a vehicle on the road, so they need to be treated just like a car, you know, to make everything safe for all of us. So I think Ken, the chief of police, and the police department have come up with some great plans of actions to hopefully deter some of the disrespectfulness and the vandalism that occurred in the past spring break.